Okay, we're good.
Are we on video?
Yep.
Get on over here.
I should be in the picture, I think.
Took notes. Okay, yes, he's ready. Okay, so we have Brian Tissue, the Director of Technology at Madison Academy. And we have Joanna Walker, Curriculum Specialist and Admissions Counselor. So thank you for coming to my interview. So the first, I guess this first question's to both of you. How the positions of Curriculum Specialist and Tech Lead influence student achievement in the system, which almost sounds obvious to me, but tell me about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as curriculum specialist, it's my job to study the trends. So we got to get a baseline of data with standardized testing or with grades, and from there I begin to create data charts so that I can disseminate that information to administrators and to teachers. They can look for gaps, areas of improvement, and in that way we're tracking ourselves, comparing ourselves with ourselves to make sure that, and with others who are taking the similar standardized tests,
Right.
so that we can make sure that we're hitting on all cylinders.
Okay. I work closely with the administrators in regards to the needs that they find. When we try to implement technology that helps prepare children for real life careers and is appropriate at different levels. Technology is really helpful in regards to helping children who are at risk. That really helps in improves communication. The reason it helps, I gotta start over.
Yeah.
We got
Well, basically she finds the gaps and
Yes.
then you help close them up
We
through
help-
the
yes.
technology.
Right.
We also look through trends as well. It's different ways of delivering that content,
Right.
and the children actually manipulating every time they're on technology, they're having to visually see it, manipulate it, and re-deliver it back.
Right.
So
Well, and then technology also helps do the assessments.
correct.
So,
Right.
yeah, okay. So how do your roles impact each school? Like we've got Little Madison Academy, we have the elementary and we have the high schools. So how does your role, I guess you're mostly middle school and high school,
Right, mostly middle
but
school
it
and high
has
school.
impacted us down
It
there.
has. We have lots of conversations with you and with the elementary. We have a begin with the end in mind approach, and Steve and Covey begin with the end in mind. So we're a college prep school. Our kids are college bound. So we're looking at that senior and saying, okay, what are the skills the senior needs to be able to be successful in college? And because knowledge is at everyone's fingertips, you could look anything up.
Right.
So education has changed in that way. So we're wanting to create students who are skilled, and that can find knowledge and make judgments about it and learn how to use it, and that kind of thing.
Right.
So in that way,
Yeah.
so we look at that and then we dial it back. So whatever that college-bound student needs to be able to do, then we have to go, okay, at what point do they need to know how to type, and at what point do they need to know how to figure this math problem?
Exactly. Right.
And so it winds up, every single grade working in concert becomes the foundation for that
Right.
college-bound student.
Making it seamless.
Absolutely, cohesive, yeah.
Okay. And well, and you're in all the schools.
Yes. So my decisions is the way mine impacts is is the technology appropriate at each grade level. Once again, working closely with administration is you wouldn't want to give a MacBook Air to a second grader. Making sure that the content's delivered quickly and effectively, and trying to remove as much of the frustration from the teacher as possible.
Yes, that's
So
important.
that's my main goal.
Mhm.
Is to it's deliver what we gotta deliver, increase user adoption, and allow for the best experience possible.
Right. For all involved.
All involved,
Yes.
including parents.
Yeah, right. So how do you determine priorities across the system so that the school's vision and the mission are accomplished? So how do you determine what's priority?
I determine that based on analytic data. We have a lot of servers. The help desk is a big deal of it. When I do my budgets, I will actually categorize each help desk. Each help desk ticket is categorized. So what I'll do is I'll take and look at that compared to the conversations I've had with administration.
Right.
And that's typically how I build my budgets out.
Okay.
It is purely analytic.
Right.
From an academic standpoint, for the upper school, I use a collegial approach. So I rely heavily on my department chairs. They are the experts, you know, that science teacher knows her stuff. And so we have a lot of informed conversations because they have a lot of responsibility. They're gonna be the ones delivering the information.
Right.
And they stay on the cutting edge of how trends are changing, what's going on with the state, because we do try to follow the state course of study to the extent that it matches our mission.
Right.
We are a Christian school, so part of what we do, you know, our mission is to provide a quality education in a Christian environment. So that quality of education is, that mission was set by the board, and every one of us working together, we collaborate and work together to make sure that what we're offering is, again, creating that college-bound student who's ready to face the world.
Right.
But who also is, has been trained socially, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Right.
Because our kids are not robots. They're not just little, you know, spitting out information. We want them to be able to be, you know, successful at whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
To be able to shake hands, to speak, you know, to
Right.
make eye contact, have social etiquette. All of those things kind of come into play.
And to stick with our mission that we have, I think every decision we make has to go back to the mission.
It does.
So like, is that gonna accomplish our mission? Or if it's not, then maybe we
Don't need to do
consider
it. Absolutely.
Yeah. How do your roles of technology and comprehensive improvement have evolved since you first entered education? So how long have you been in education? Your whole career?
8 years.
Okay.
8 years.
So has it changed? I mean,
Yes.
technology changes
Yes.
all the time.
Technology has gone from a nicety to a staple. And that's just about in every district. Delivering content electronically is, you know, we're almost to the point where, you know, you didn't bring your pencil. It's, you know, we're at that same level.
Right.
That has changed in that regard. Online curriculum has evolved tremendously in the last 2 years. Bandwidth requirements. It's a huge factor that drives a lot of the decisions in any school district. And I don't think it was that way. It wasn't that way 10 years ago.
No, you're right.
So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. That, I mean, certainly technologies have evolved, but you know how the priority has increased tremendously.
Yeah.
So that'd be the biggest one.
Well, and I've been in education since 1996, so it has changed drastically, and I would say that it's the delivery system. Technology has a lot to do with that, but it's also the teacher's position in the classroom. You know, you're no longer just a lecturer disseminating knowledge, because the kids can, at a fingertip, they can look up anything and know more than you could ever dream of knowing. So it has become more about, it's more project-based, and it's less, you know, the lecturer, the sage on the stage versus the coach.
More student-centered
versus teacher-centered, and the teacher is there to come alongside to make sure that the student is being, you know, mentored, fostered, guided, but and given the skills that they need to be able to do what it is that they need to be able to do.
Right.
So it's much more skills-based than it is content-based. It would be how I would characterize
Well,
it.
it's no more just be able to spit out information.
Right.
It's, okay, you got the information, so
How are
let's
you gonna
use
use
it and evaluate it and
Right.
create something with it.
Right.
And so that's the teacher's job now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a lot different.
Yes, it
Let's
is.
see. Well, how are your roles and responsibilities are different and similar across the school levels? Like when you're looking at the 3 different schools, which your main responsibility is middle school and high school.
Right.
So have you noticed any difference between when you're handling the middle school curriculum versus the high school curriculum, or is it kind of the same? Your role different or the same?
Well, it's kind of the same. A lot of schools that are K-12, if they have a separate middle school, you can do things a little bit differently in middle school. But we share teachers, and so we really do have a 7 to 12 approach. It's really a 6 to 12 approach, because our curriculum is aligned from 6 to 12. So the differences for me would be engaging with the teachers in 6 to 12 versus engaging with the principal or the director in the lower schools, because and then they disseminate that information to the, to your teachers.
Right.
You two are, the elementary principal and the U.S. director are considered the experts in your field.
Right.
And then the department chairs are considered the experts in mine.
Mhm.
So, that's a little bit of difference in just the way that I gather information and in decision making and book ordering and
Right.
that kind of
Well,
thing.
and the needs are different
They
for
are.
a high school student than for a middle school student.
They are.
Yeah. Because I've taught that age.
Yes, they are.
Yes. So like your roles though, like you're in all three.
Mhm.
So how are your roles similar or the
Well,
different?
similarly, most of the curriculum is all delivered the same way. When it comes to brass tacks, it's all delivered pretty much the same way. The roles change, the responsibilities change when you get into the upper grades. It's more security. It's, because the maturity level changes, the knowledge level gets higher. So, I really have to watch middle school, high school, because, we're giving them more responsibility at that point.
Mhm.
And I feel like my job at that point is to try to guide them in the right direction.
Right.
And I try to replicate the high school kids with the same type of things that they would see in the real world.
Mhm.
They don't have access to this and this and this. Well, you wouldn't
Right.
you wouldn't in your first engineering job either.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's smart.
there's that role.
Mhm.
The other role too, at the lower levels, is once again ease of use.
Mhm.
That that's not such of a priority. The ease of use. It's a priority at the high school level, but not nearly what it is. 5 and below.
Right.
So one good example was when we rolled the 6th grade off iPads this year.
Mhm.
And I was gonna do 5, 6. Well, I didn't because I figured I'd start with 6th grade, and it came down to a maturity level. They couldn't remember their passwords. So the 6th grade, that's how you gotta kind of approach those things. And, chances are 5th grade will never get MacBook Pros. They won't get MacBooks because they can't remember passwords, and
Yeah.
it goes back to that ease of use.
Mhm.
So a lot of the ease of use is a big part of it, and
Right.
depending on what age the kids are at.
Yeah. And also like whether they're taking their devices home with them
Right.
or not, or if it just stays at school. There's
Mhm.
more monitoring and.
A lot more monitoring.
Yeah. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. What changes do you see need to be made, like either theoretical or practical, to have a greater impact on positive student achievement?
Here or in general?
Here.
I think, I think it kind of applies. Okay, but here I would think in my realm is more automation. I think a lot of our administrators, we do a lot of reduplication of data. And one of my main goals this year is to cut that by 50%. When the teachers were we've got this mindset a little bit that, we're so focused at the beginning of the year and throughout the year of reduplicating data over and over and over again. And if we could automate, which I know that the technology that I've done it before, we just gotta get, we gotta get the foundation in place to do it.
Mhm.
Once we automate, we can start focusing, right now technology rules us a little bit, not the other way around. And if we can break away from that dependency and let it do it in the background, we can start focusing on other things. And it's hard to quantify what would improve, but things will get better as that duplication of data decreases.
Yeah. Okay, what about you?
Well, from a curriculum standpoint, one of the challenges that we have is the size of our school. And let's say each grade level is 70 kids. Well, with those 70 kids, they're paying for their education, and you want it to be competitive with what they could get for free in the public school system.
Mhm.
At the same time, we can't offer everything that the public school offers because they have funding and they have larger, grade levels. They can offer all these things. So our pendulum has kind of swung a little bit too far to where our tendrils as far as an upper school as to what we're offering are stretching out too thin,
Mhm.
and we're not doing everything really well. So there's a constant, I guess, back and forth as to, we want to make sure that what we're offering is high quality, and we want to stay competitive as far as elective offerings and academic offerings go. So I'm constantly, every year looking at, okay, is this class super important? Do we need to continue offering? I know kids like it, but is it getting us where they need to go? Or
Right.
kids may not like this class, but do they need it? Have we chunked it for no reason?
Yeah.
And so there's just a constant honing.
Mhm.
Will never be perfect.
Right.
And everything's based on your personnel and what your personnel is able to do.
Right.
But in a perfect world, as far as just theoretically, we would be able to offer a well-balanced curriculum that's where we're doing everything that we do well.
Yes.
And that's
And
the
everything
challenge.
we do well is what they need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What school doesn't want that, right?
Right. Exactly. Okay, last question. How have your positions impacted the decision-making of the school, like the school leaders, such as the principal, or the president, or the school board, and if so, in what way?
I think the decisions and the implementations that we've done in the last 2 years, I would hope has opened up the door to more of, we're less worried about how the network's gonna behave.
Yes.
We're less worried about reliability, the robustness. It really opens the door to more intense curriculum, more overhead, more internet-based stuff. Where I can comfortably say, for the most part, if an administrator came to me and goes, "Hey, can we do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." It gives. I hope that the changes that we've delivered in the last year have really opened the door. Like last year, we couldn't have MobiMax. This year, we had no problem implementing it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm hoping that the biggest decision's been made is, they may have felt hamstrung before.
Mhm.
How deep can we really get in technology? And now I feel like it's as deep as you want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like the school board trusts your decisions and like
Yeah.
what we can do and keeping the safety.
Yeah, keeping the safety there, keeping the bandwidth up.
Because our school board is really good about, like, we're not the experts in education, so we're putting experts and we trust our experts.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
From my perspective, the first move that I made that was the most valuable for me was to hold a parent meeting, to listen. Because before that, I felt like maybe parents had not, there are stakeholders as well.
Right.
And they needed a voice in what we're offering. And because of that, I learned so much about what parents what their expectations were, what they would like for us to offer, what they felt like their kids needed. And when I had that stakeholder feedback and was able to take that then to administration, to the president, then it was like, look, this is what our stakeholders are wanting. And we can offer it. We have this personnel, we have this capacity, such things as life skills class like driver's ed, dual enroll classes, personal finance, kids who were, graduating who didn't know how to balance a checkbook, they had a lot of head knowledge, but not a lot of walking around knowledge.
Yes.
And we learned that our parents, though our kids are college prep, they want them to be successful adults.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like we have a little stronger balance now between academics and life skills things. That was important to our parents. They were having to go somewhere else to find those things.
Right. And pay more money.
And pay more money when they're already paying for an education here. So, ACT prep, all of the things that we've added that we feel like are good, high quality elective choices that our parents are glad that we've offered. And so
Right.
to that extent, I feel like that's where, that's been the most influence that I've had is to get that parent, that stakeholder feedback, which sounds a loud bell to
Right.
administrators because all of us want to make sure that, our stakeholders are
So
satisfied.
because you did the legwork, then, when you go to the president, you've got your evidence there and
Right.
he listens.
Absolutely.
And then therefore the board listens.
Absolutely.
Because all they're asking us to do is just be professional.
Do a good job, that's right.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The end.
No problem. Well, I don't know
Very
how I did
good.
without notes, but whatever.
Yeah, y'all didn't need notes.
Well, I had
It was
studied
nice